Hello YouTube! Merry April 8th and welcome to Chapter 2. Last week I was invited to play in a playtest of Spellbreak's newest game mode, released with the second installment of its narrative-focused battle pass, The Fracture. This mode is called Dominion, and I have a lot of thoughts on it, so I've put together this mini review. Before we get into what Spellbreak's first signature game mode actually is, and what I mean by that phrase, here's a bit of relevant information. First, a quick disclaimer. The background footage of this video was recorded during the creator playtest on the 2nd of April, and so might not perfectly represent the final release. Also, since I live in Europe, I was playing on high ping, so your experience at release should be smoother. For those interested, here's the build I was running in the presented gameplay. I was using the Pyromancer class, focused on either the Toxic or Lightning Gauntlets in my offhand. I was running the Hardened talent in the Mind category, Wellspring from the Body category, and Vampiric from the Spirit category. The aim behind this build being to act as a fluid, aggressive brawler that rewards effectively expending resources with powerful damage and self-sustain. Let's be real, it's a W key build. The build felt fantastic, and I think it will be very viable when Dominion hits live servers, especially if queuing alone. So, what is Dominion? For those who may be a little bit out of Spellbreak's news loop, Dominion is a 5 vs 5 objective-based game mode that highlights the game's fantastic combat system in small-scale team vs team combat. Teams fight over the control of 3 zones, which grant points every 10 seconds. The more zones you control, the more points you get, both through the 10-second tick and a multiplier that is applied to your team's exiles. When a team reaches the appropriate point threshold, they win. Loot and upgrades are acquired in 2 ways. Through a merchant gamble system that converts your contribution to the match into currency, and killing non-player creatures around the map which drop consumables, scrolls, and other items. For more specifics, check out the official post on the Spellbreak Reddit page, a link to it is being included in the video's description down below. So, for the feedback. There are a lot of things to cover, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on the most impactful positives and negatives that I experienced. The Spellbreak community has a lot of incredible content creators, and I urge you to listen to their voices too. The first major positive that I want to talk about is the pacing. Yes, combat in Spellbreak feels fantastic, it is known. But what is often neglected when it comes to a game's pace is the space between combat. Battle Royale games are notorious for their action inconsistency, and Team Deathmatch often feels too chaotic and arcadey. Dominion not only provides consistent access to action, which, because it's smaller, makes players feel like they have more control over the outcome, but it also gives you space to think, and the ability to choose what action you want to take. This brings us neatly onto our next point. Skill expression. One of the main reasons that Spellbreak has such a hardcore following is because improving at the game, for the most part, feels rewarding. Yes, you need to improve your mechanics, but you also need to learn to play smart. There are a lot of different ways that you can express your skill through your choices and playstyle, and Dominion doubles down on this by providing a better framework for decision making. Whether you're changing the elements of your build mid-match to better suit the situation, jungling for loot, fighting for gem charge, skirmishing on a capture zone, or tactically recalling to safety, all of your choices and how well you execute those choices feels like it matters. Not to mention, this is only covering what you can do as an individual, and domination game modes thrive on teamwork and strategy. Because of this, it feels well suited to the accolades method that is being used for the ranked league system, but that's a different video. Now on to the negatives. First up is the PvE, or player versus environment. As previously mentioned, the game mode features non-player creatures that the players can kill for rewards, called Vowguards. This faction is an important part of the ongoing story, and you would expect them to feel, among other things, ominous? But they don't. Small packs of them stand around in the open, attempting and often failing embarrassingly to slap you with their arcane noodles. The intention here is to remove the necessity for loot chests, but instead they just feel like slightly animated loot piñatas. They serve a simple purpose, but they just don't feel like a compelling part of the game mode, and so end up also feeling like an uncompelling part of the story. The idea is great, but the implementation is underwhelming. This is something that I'm sure that they will work on over time, and I think there's a lot of potential here to make these respawning enemies, at the very least, appear more menacing than they currently do. Next is map size. The capture zones often feel too close together. With the immense amount of movement options available to players, traveling from point to point can be trivial. While this can open up the meta for certain classes and runes to shine, it more often than not just results in some encounters devolving into a cacophony of spell interactions. It can be hard to navigate visually, let alone physically, for the poor mages involved in the ruckus. There is a fine line between the skill involved in doing so and just getting lucky. I don't think it's a bad idea to require a little bit more commitment from players when choosing to attack an area of the map or when choosing their loadout. To wrap things up, I want to go over what I really mean by signature game mode. For a very long time now, creators have lamented over what Spellbreak really is. The developers have clearly put a lot of thought, work, and love into building a very compelling combat system. That much is undebatable. However, one important issue that the game has wrestled with, even since before its public release, has been its identity. It has been an adequate battle royale, it has been a decent deathmatch, but for a variety of different reasons, neither of those frameworks really allowed the combat to shine. This is where Dominion shakes things up. The improved pace of the game makes every moment feel like it matters. With no more looting phase, you can jump into the action off drop, and the gem exchange merchant rewards you for actively participating throughout the match. The small-scale skirmishes allow you to feel the ebb and flow of the thoughtful and fluid combat, the breaths between every bit as significant as the shots fired. This doesn't feel like Fortnite Sorcerers or Unreal Tournament Wizard Battle Arena. This feels like Spellbreak, and I think that's going to excite a lot of people. So, should you play Spellbreak with the release of Chapter 2? Yes, absolutely. If you've been holding off on getting into the game for the first time, stopped playing some time ago, or you're a long-time grinder, there has never been a better time to play Spellbreak than right now. It's free and cross-platform, so there's really no reason not to give it a go. Maybe even bring a few friends along and sling those spells together. Dominion is, in my opinion, and that of a lot of other passionate Spellbreak creators, an incredible base for the game to grow from. Dominion isn't perfect, but its potential is obvious. So jump in early and start grinding those ranks, Breaker. Thanks for watching, I hope you found it useful. Please let me know you're enjoying the content by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot, and it lets me know you want to see more. Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts and experiences with the game post Chapter 2 launch. You can also catch me live on Twitch, streaming all kinds of fantastic games at twitch.tv/Hecit. That's all for now. Thanks again, and stay cozy.